Okay, so about a month ago, I had the great fortune to go skiing with my children and some of their friends. And as we were getting ready to go out that day, one of their very joyful friends said, "Yo, what's our vibe today?" Now, you know this is a true story because I could never make up language like that. I'm much too old. But what's our vibe today? And so the picture that came into my head was a story that needed some explanation. So this was my vibe that I wanted to have for the day skiing with my kids. So in January, I think one of my last nights that I was on call at Lancaster General Hospital, I was driving home, and I was driving north on Lidditz Pike. I gotten out earlier than I expected, so I was pretty happy. Yet, right after I passed under 30, the traffic started really slowing down. There was no traffic coming the other direction, but we were like inching along, and I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. And right as we came to a stop, I could see that there was a car coming in the other direction. And it was going really slow. It had its hazards on. And there was just one guy in the car, and he was driving, and he kept looking over at the side. And right as we came almost up to him, our lane of traffic completely stopped. And I could finally see that what he was looking at was the happiest dog that I have ever seen. So there is a dog, and he is running south on the side of Lidditz Pike. He is one of those doodly dogs, kind of long-haired, big long ears, and he is running as fast as he possibly can, leash flying behind him. And you know how you can tell how dogs are smiling? He was smiling, and he was so happy. And that was such a pretty picture in my head that I was just very joyful. And then this guy is trying to follow him, obviously, and can't quite figure out how to stop him. And then the car in front of me is stopped, and I see the woman in front of me get out of her car. And she jumps out of her car, and she starts running down the highway after this dog, who is the happiest dog I've ever seen, who is running as fast as he can down the south side. And people start to honk. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to catch this dog. And so I go around, and I go a little bit further, and then I see this poor kid. He's not crying, but he's clearly distressed, coming down south on the north side of Lidditz Pike with Crocs on, clearly used to be holding the other end of that leash. And he is walking down, chasing the happiest dog that I've ever seen, going down Lidditz Pike that way. And I go a little bit further, and then there's a woman on a cell phone who probably was with the boy who used to be holding the leash that was chasing the dog, that's going as fast as it can, so happy down the other way. And then I'm past it. But the picture in my head of that dog was so joyful that it stayed with me, and that I wanted to be my vibe for the day. Now, see, the problem with my story is that it has a beginning and it has a middle, but it doesn't have an end. So I can't get a really good score. But today, they took all my belongings out of my house, and I'm getting ready to move away from Lancaster, hopefully running as fast as I can, with my 20 years of Lancaster life trailing behind me with a big smile on my face as I head to Washington State, where most of my children now live. And the fact that we need to know the end of the story, well, I think that's all in our head.